Examon, the largest of the Royal Knights, and a deck that is full of contradictions, as if you want to run it optimally, you've got to run so many different cards. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the biggest problem stopping Examon from being great, which is itself. But before I go there, I want to give a quick history lesson on Examon and my relationship with it. When I first started playing the game in BT5, I sucked, and I continued to suck until about BT8 when I started playing Imperial Dramon. There's just something special with the DNA mechanic and Imperial Dramon that could just attack, unsuspend, and do it all over again. It all just clicked. So when I saw Examon and I noticed that it was just basically Imperial Dramon, it could suspend and unsuspend. I mean, hey, it's also a blue-green deck too, so it just checked all those boxes. I just thought, man, this could be my deck. Even better, Searcher Dracomon could grab things with Dramon in name. Wait a minute, Pyldramon has a Dramon in its name. I immediately thought I could combine both these decks and create a super awesome unspending deck, and that didn't work. But I stubbornly continued trying to make the deck work with all the EX3 support, but I could never just make Examon, well, click. I always felt that if I had one or two more dedicated land support, it could be something special. Anyways, here we are in BT20, where I got 2 full lines support, capped off with a new Examon Ace. And the deck's still bad. Well, lovely. But here's the catch. All the new cards, except maybe like 1 or 2 of them, are good for the deck. The 1 or 2 are just okay at worst. But I think there are currently 3 key issues that the deck suffers from. This deck only has 1 good Dracomon, and that's the EX3 Dracomon. Everything else is bad. Okay, well, not actually bad, maybe just okay is the best word. And that's why I describe the new BT20 Dracomon, as it's good, I guess. Yes, the DP buff is nice, but this is a deck that doesn't draw a whole lot. So start of main is both good and bad, as you're pitching a card to draw and gain a memory. And with your already small hand size, pitching a card is always a tough decision. What I wish it said instead was that by tucking a Dramon named Digimon from your trash as a bottom evolution card, draw 1. I mean, that would make it pretty good. Oh, and I completely forgot, the colors for this card, completely wrong. Why is it solid red? Granted, it's not the first red Dracomon we've gotten, but for the Examon deck, it's purely just a blue-green deck. Well, at least it was anyway. Which always meant that you could run BT3 Davis as your tamer to memory set and then grab stuff. But do you know you can't grab with BT3 Davis? A red Dracomon! Moving off of this, Promo Dracomon is also a bad card. It's now basically been completely replaced by the new core Dramons, as they effectively do the same thing. The old Structure Dracomon doesn't have an inherit, and when you search with it, it'll whiff Examon. BT11 Dracomon is again okay, as that inheritable is pretty nice for gaining memory, but unfortunately, that's kind of all you really have. No, I'm not talking about the red vanilla Dracomon, because that's just bad. Why would you ever run that? So unfortunately, for the most part, your rookie lineup is going to look pretty suboptimal. It's going to be EX3 Dracomon, BT20 because it's the next best one, and then a dealer's choice if you want more search or the ability to gain memory when you hard drop another card. I've got no issue with the level 4s in this deck, as the new core Dramons are just really good, no complaints from me. But the level 5s, those on the other hand, I have a lot to talk about for those. The old ones are really bad. I mean, yes, you can choose them as a level 6 for a DNA into Examon, and they do the end of turn DNA, but aside from that, what's Evade and Blocker going to do for the most part? New Examon Ace has all the keywords. I guess for old Examon you kind of need them. But the new ones conversely do a lot more. They can be used for the Blast DNA, but they don't have the end of turn. So, okay, the only thing I'm using them for is to Blast DNA into Examon Ace. The biggest problem there is that it's just super choreographed. You're telling me, if you see a single stack out with level 5, my opponent's just going to go, oh yeah, time to swing, and I can counter Evo and Examon Ace? Yeah, that's not really going to happen, I don't think. Not to mention that if you do want to counter Evo into Examon Ace, you need to have the other level 6 in hand, as you can't substitute it. Personally, I think the solution for this is to run a happy medium of both the old and new, and I think the best combo is new Ground Dramon with old Wing Dramon. New Ground Dramon is great for suspending bodies and combos nice with new Break Dramon for moving both Tamers and Digimon, and old Wing Dramon, Evade's not bad, but I do think that old Wing Dramon is the better to have than old Ground Dramon. Just because new Wing Dramon is just okay, it has a pop and a security attack +1 is the inheritable, versus the suspension and trashing effects that the Ground Dramon has instead. But that's all going to change very soon once we get BT21. And now here's the biggest problem with Examon currently. Old Examon has no keywords but a very powerful effect, whereas new Examon has all the keywords and an okay effect. You should be running a split of both the old and the new as your top end in my opinion, but if you're going to do that, you gotta split the level 6s as well. Old Slayerdramon is the only non-black card that allows you to taunt your opponent into swinging, which is fantastic to blast Evo into Examon Ace safely. But new Slayerdramon has a crazy good inheritable that prevents Examon from leaving the battle area at all by just suspending. Yes, evade is great, but it does nothing against bottom decking by, this guy. Oh, and what's that? It also does it for any of your bodies on the field. Not to mention, if you played off of old Examon's ability, be able to source strip and pop stuff, and the all turns will allow you to unsuspend another body when a security is checked, which is great for going for a lot more swings. So again, decision's not that easy, because both Slayerdramon are great. As for Breakdramons, is it easier there? Well, the old one pairs really well with new Examon, as you can just raid over bodies and then trash security. But if you're in the new Breakdramon, it's inheritable and effect allow you to delete something that's suspended, either a Digimon or a Tamer, and that comes up a lot more often than you'd think. And if you play it off of old Examon, it'll give you the ability to swing, which is just great, and the alternates effect is the same as the inheritable. So again, both these are also really good. So you're oftentimes running a split between both the new and the old for level 6s. There are just going to be some times where it's just like the not optimal stack, and well, yeah, that's kind of a big problem there. They're all just too good. In case you couldn't tell, this deck leaves me feeling very confused as it's not cohesive. There isn't one boss monster that you're really aiming for, but two, and they always feel like they're fighting each other. Level 5s are only really working if you split them between the new and the old, and that's only because this deck has only one end of turn DNA effect. Or does it? Welcome back to an episode of Saucer Loss Mini Edition. There are two cards that support current in BT21, and it's the X-antibody line, which, wait, two cards? That's not going to solve everything, or will it? Anyways, let's dive into those two new cards and see if they can help fix this cohesion issue that Examon currently has. The first card we're going to be talking about is our new Dracomon X-antibody, and it's actually a good level 3 Dracomon for the deck. Dracomon X is a green and blue Digimon. Wait, no red. It digivolves from a green or blue level 2 for a cost of 1, or a Dracomon for a cost of 0. It has a start of your main phase / when digivolving effect. This Digimon may digivolve into a Cordramon in the hand without paying the cost, with the inheritable of, finally, end of turn DNA. Okay, so right off the bat, this card isn't even part red. Yeah, I do not get what they're thinking of for BT20 Dracomon, but this is just a chef's kiss. The effects is just super strong, and there's a free Evo into a Cordramon, and the inherit is the end of turn DNA, which is just the icing on the cake, really. The only sucky part about this one is that if you are digivolving over your egg, it'll cost 1, but over another Dracomon, it's fine. But I think that's a fair price to pay. So now for BT21, you can just run this and run less of the old level 5s. So really, it's going to be a bit better now. You can run more actual effects as opposed to just blocker and evade. So definitely this card is sauce. And the last card new support is our level 7 green, red, and blue Examon X-antibody, which digivolves from a green, red, or blue level 6 for a cost of 6, or an Examon for the cost of 2. It's got piercing, blocker, and evade, and a when digivolving effect to suspend all of your opponent's Digimon and Tamers, then delete one of the suspended Digimon or Tamers. With the all turns effect, when the Digimon suspends, it unsuspends. Then, if Examon or X-antibody are in the Digimon Digivolution cards, trash the top card of your opponent's security. Why did the X-antibody form lose access to raid? I guess it would have made the deck too strong offensively. And yes, I guess with the when digivolving effect to suspend everything, there wouldn't be a raid target. Anyways, pour one out for raid. The when digivolving effect is a great way to just fully suspend your opponent's board and then pop something, and the all turns effect isn't the worst. It's a simple unsuspend when you suspend effect, which is different than Examon Ace's ability to unsuspend when anything suspends, but I think for balance reasons they had to change it. And then you also trash security to Examon or X-antibody as a source. Personally, I do wish I had a DNA requirement that was something like this could DNA digivolve from a Breakdramon and Slayerdramon with the X-antibody and sources, but otherwise it's going to be very costly over our level 6. 6 is expensive, or 2 over Examon, which in case you're wondering, puts in the same bucket as Black War Greymon X, Chaos Dramon X, Leviamon X, Omnimon X, and plenty of others, but of course the scariest X-anti of them all, Plesiomon X. Most of these, I'd argue, their two costs are worth it for the evolution over the normal forms, but for Examon X, it doesn't feel that great. The card's still sauce though. So with all the new cards coming out for Examon, is it now a great deck? Well, it's truly one of the blue-green decks of all times. No, I will not admit this deck is red. Nope, can't make me do it. With the new X-antibody support in BT21, I do think the deck is in a solid place. It'll definitely win at locals, but at regionals, I think it might be trickier as the top decks currently focus on bottom decking, and unless you're in the new Slayerdramon, it's going to be an uphill battle. And here's a deck list that I've been running for BT20 that is working well for me. Still working on a BT21 list, as I think it's going to be a bit tougher to figure out. Rookies wise, split is going to be between EX3 Dracomon, the new Dracomon X, and I guess BT20 Dracomon. The top end is still TBD, TBH. Thank you very much for watching me ramble about Examon. I've been Pro Ninja, and we'll see you in the next one.